Morning.
Morning. We've had to miss the last 2 weeks, so I was anxious to get back today. And I'm going to do something a little bit different today. I've been reading this book that I really like a lot. Let's see, hold on one second. I'm trying to pull up my screen here. Let's see, hold on one sec. Here we go. I've been reading a new book, and it has to do with mindset, but the beginning part of it, well, hold on a second. Why is this not going away? That's weird. Hold on, guys. Sorry about that. Let's see. I don't know. Okay, we'll start. We'll just make it go to the back. I've been reading a new book, and it's had my mindset in a little bit different place. Oh, thanks about the wallpaper. You don't even want to know the story behind this wallpaper, but thank you. Don't, Susan, don't install wallpaper unless you really love it, because it's very costly to take it down and redo. I learned that lesson. I don't think Adam will ever let me hang wallpaper again. However, I do love what I have now. So thank you. So let's start with a piece of gratitude. What's one thing that you guys are grateful for today? And you can type it in the chat. One thing that you are grateful for today. And I'm actually grateful to be back in Charleston. I got here late last night and haven't been here for about 2.5 weeks. I had a long time separated this time. So it's nice to be back. Although I did do my walk this morning and I forgot how much I dislike the bugs. I'm like getting eaten alive here. Oh, Michelle, I saw your new office space. It looks so cute. Yes, I saw that on your Facebook. Loved all the pictures. Love it. Good friends and opportunities. Love that. Both my kiddos got their first home. Oh my gosh, Angie, that is so cool. And under market value. That's like not happening right now.
Yes.
How did they pull that off?
Well, my daughter got hers under contract with a family friend that we put a bug in their ear like last year. If you sell, and they,
wow.
Yeah. And then my son just turned on the charm, and an older couple said, I want you guys to have it, and will you take it for 50,000 less? And we're like,
wow.
Sure.
Oh my gosh. Good for them. That is awesome. See, people are still finding deals right now. That's great. That's great. Milton, grateful for your assistance. Leverage allows you to have a life. You're going to like some of the slides today because that's what we're talking about. And Rochelle, I'm so glad you're back. Amazing team. Love it. Yep. Arizona sunshine. Yes, I'm definitely grateful for the sunshine. Awesome, you guys. So my neighbor in Charleston here, her name's Helen. I want to get her on a morning mindset. You guys would love her. She's an entrepreneur. She owns her own company, and she has built an amazing business. And she had this book on her Instagram, and she said, you have got to read this book. Like, you would absolutely love this book. So I got it, and I'm halfway through, and I'm loving it. I had never, I think I might have heard of Naval, but I don't know that I necessarily put two and two together for actually who he was. He's from India. He moved to the United States as a child, and he has invested in startups of many companies, including Uber, Twitter, Postmates. He created Angel List in 2010. He is in hundreds of businesses and startups. His story is really incredible. So I wanted to share with you some of the things that I've been learning from this book. And it all kind of started, I guess, by him just posting sentences on his Twitter. And I'm not on Twitter, so I guess that might be why I had never seen them before. And so I pulled, I think I have 34 or 36 of them to share with you guys, and not necessarily really lessons around them. There's a lesson in each of them. I just want you guys to think about the ones that resonate with you. And a lot of these are about wealth. And so I think sometimes when we talk about mindset, wealth has a lot to do with it. I shared this quote with some of you last month at, I think, some of our office meetings. And then I think I had it on social media, but it said, Gary Keller said, money doesn't make people happy, but there are a lot of unhappy people that don't have money or something like that, if you remember. So I thought this would be good for us to talk about. So I'm just going to run through these. And if one jumps out to you, or you are like, man, that's great, would love for you to just comment in the chat as we go along. So he starts by saying, Seek wealth, not money or status. Wealth is having assets that earn while you sleep. Money is how we transfer time and wealth. Status is your place in a social hierarchy. Understand ethical wealth creation if possible. If you secretly despise wealth, it will elude you. And how many of you, you don't have to raise your hand or comment, but grew up with your parents, like somehow you had in your mind that money was not good, or you had some sort of preconceived notion around wealth or money? Ignore people playing status games. They gain status by attracting people, playing wealth creation games. You're not going to get rich renting out your time. You must own equity, a piece of a business, to gain your financial freedom. And one thing I will say, because I know I have a lot of realtors on this call, I think we have to switch our mindset from just being a realtor to we are all a business owner. So we all already have that. It's just if we run it like that. You will get rich by giving society what it wants, but does not yet know how to get at scale. That one really hit me, because think about that. Have you guys, I sometimes finding myself saying like, why did I not invent this? Like, how did I not think of this? And now it's everywhere. In fact, Adam and I were talking about that this morning, and I was thinking on our walk, like, who invented the little bags that you pick up your dog's poop in? Like, that was so genius. That was so genius. We all have to have those. I'm like, who invents these? But think about it. People that are very wealthy typically have gotten rich by giving society what it wants, but it doesn't know how to get. And then you just figure out how to scale it. Pick an industry where you can play long-term games with long-term people. The internet has massively broadened the possible space of careers. Most people haven't figured this out yet. This is another huge one, honestly. I mean, think about how many businesses have been created. Oh yeah, or the carrier that clips on the leash. Michelle, totally true. Think about how many careers or people. I mean, like in my neighborhood in Charleston, Heather knows this, there are like millionaire bloggers. And I'm not kidding you guys. They live in multi-million-dollar homes. And it's unbelievable to me what they do, because they're bloggers and they share their stuff online and people buy it and they make commission from it. And it's insane. Play iterated games. All the returns in life, whether in wealth, relationships, or knowledge, come from compound interest. Pick business partners with high intelligence, high energy, and above all, integrity. I think that's kind of a given, although sometimes we forget that. And honestly, lately I've been thinking about the, leverage. Sean said, yep, totally. Lately I've been thinking, oh, thanks. Heather posted the link for the book for you guys too. Lately I've been thinking about the energy part, like picking business partners with the energy. Don't partner with cynics and pessimists. Their beliefs are self-fulfilling. Learn to sell, learn to build. If you can do both, you will be unstoppable. I really liked that one. I think that is a great one. Arm yourself with specific knowledge, accountability, and leverage. There you go, Dawn, talking about leverage, where it's in here several times. So you have to have specific knowledge. You have to be accountable, which for most of us means just being held accountable. And a lot of times it can even be through coaching or mentorship, but then actually following through with what you say you're going to do from those meetings. And then leverage. Specific knowledge is knowledge you cannot be trained for. If society can train you, it can train someone else and replace you. That is very accurate, very accurate. Specific knowledge is found by pursuing your genuine curiosity and passion rather than whatever is hot right now. And I think in the times that we're in, I think sometimes it is easy to get caught up in the whatever is hot right now part. And so I liked that one. Building specific knowledge will feel like play to you, but will look like work for others. So I think about the specific knowledge thing in terms of your unique ability, because if any of you have ever done the Dan Sullivan Strategic Coach Unique Ability exercise, your unique ability is something that for you feels like fun. You can do it all the time. But for other people, it might look like a really lot of hard work. And so I think that's kind of how I thought about this specific knowledge, is thinking about in terms of your unique ability. When specific knowledge is taught, it is through apprenticeships, not schools. And that's very true. I just had a conversation yesterday with somebody and we were like, why do they not teach us any of this stuff in school? They taught none of it. Specific knowledge is often highly technical or creative. It cannot be outsourced or automated. So again, that's your unique ability. That's just what you really are great at, and it's your specific knowledge. Embrace accountability and take business risks under your own name. Society will reward you with responsibility, equity, and leverage. Fortunes require leverage. Business leverage comes from capital, people, and products with no marginal cost of replication. And he talks about code and media right here. But then he talks about this first, and then he goes into something, because when I was reading this, I was like, well, I don't know how to code. And I don't really think I'd be good at coding. It's definitely not in my specific knowledge, that's for sure. So capital means money. To raise money, apply your specific knowledge with accountability and show resulting good judgment. Labor means people working for you. It's the oldest and most fought over form of leverage. Labor leverage will impress your parents, but don't waste your life chasing it. I thought that was funny. Capital and labor are permissioned leverage. Everyone is chasing capital, but someone has to give it to you. Everyone is trying to lead, but someone has to follow you. And that part is very true. And so this is where he got into. So code and media are permissionless leverage. They're the leverage behind the newly rich. You can create software and media that works for you while you sleep. And so when I was listening to that or reading this, I was like, well, I don't know how to code. So that's a problem. And I don't really think I want to learn how to code. And then the very next sentence, he said, if you can't code, write books and blogs, record videos and podcasts. And I thought, man, okay, that totally makes sense, because if you go back, media are permissionless leverages. I mean, it's a permissionless piece of leverage. And if for those of us, some of you maybe can code. If you can, I'm like super impressed. Heather, I'm surprised Peyton can't code. Actually, he strikes me as someone who would know how to code. If you can't do that, then you can write books and blogs and record videos and podcasts. And some of you are doing a lot of that. Leverage is a force multiplier for your judgment. Judgment requires experience, but can be built faster by learning foundational skills. And I think sometimes I always think about when you see people, or even you ask yourself, do you feel like you have good judgment, or do you not feel like you have good judgment? And sometimes you're like, man, that one felt really good to me. What happened? And you're like, okay, then you start to question your judgment because it might not be right. He said, reading is faster than listening, but doing is faster than watching. And I really like this one, because a lot of times I feel like, and we talked about this when we talked about the 4 C's a couple weeks ago, and making just a big commitment first. A lot of times you just have to go and do it and get into action, because the doing is actually faster than anything else. He said, I thought this was great. You should be too busy to do coffee while still keeping an uncluttered calendar. And it reminds me of what Gary Keller always says, that he's not busy, he's highly scheduled. And I think there's a huge difference in that, because you can be busy and feel like you got nothing accomplished at the end of the day. But you can be highly scheduled, and there's a huge difference. Yeah, Angie, I totally agree with that. Angie said being hands-on will make things happen faster. Yes, for sure. He said, set and enforce an aspirational personal hourly rate. And this is so hard for some of us. If fixing a problem will save less than your hourly rate, ignore it. If outsourcing a task will cost less than your hourly rate, outsource it. And so basically what he's saying is, and a lot of times we talk about this with real estate agents in particular, is it a nothing's $12 an hour anymore. Is it a $17 an hour task, or is it a $300 an hour task? And being able to figure that out, because I just think that's such an important part. Work as hard as you can, even though who you work with and what you work on are more important than how hard you work. So read that one again, like that one takes a minute to settle in, but work as hard as you can, even though who you work with and what you actually are working on are both more important than how hard you work. And that actually might be one of my favorite ones out of the whole thing. Become the best in the world at what you do, and then keep redefining what you do until this is true. And I had to really think about that one for a minute too, because it's kind of a daunting thought to think about becoming the best in the world. So I kind of chunked that down and thought about, what if you were just the best in your world? Like, what if you were the best in your world, with your sphere, with your circle, in your town or city, or in your peer group? You know what I mean? Like, chunk it down and think about, okay, not necessarily the entire globe per se, but how could you become the best at what you do and keep redefining it so that it constantly stays true? There are no get rich quick schemes. Those are just someone else getting rich off of you. And I love that one. I think that that is so true. And I actually, when I read that, I laughed and thought about, I really wanted to try to do that whole like Bitcoin Coinbase thing. And maybe some of you are making like a lot of money off of it. I don't know, but I couldn't figure it out. And then I thought, I wonder if that was one that is just all these, what are they calling them? The L something. Oh gosh. What are all those things that like aren't real things, but, oh my gosh, best in my world. Yes, NFTs. Yes, thank you. Okay, I was totally out of blank. Yes, I don't even know what that means. It's like is it like a make-believe thing? I don't know. But I started thinking, I was reading this thing. I really like Gary Vaynerchuk, only I think he drops probably a little too many F-bombs, but I do like to read his books. And I think what he talks about is really good. And then I read this thing about how he's all on NFTs, and it was all about like, I love Gary V, but all of this NFT talk is just because it's going straight into his pocket and all the stuff. And so anyway, when I read that, I started thinking about that. Although who knows, that might be what the world is going to. Apply specific knowledge with leverage, and eventually you will get what you deserve. And I think that that is such a good one. When you're finally wealthy, you will realize it wasn't what you were seeking in the first place, but that's for another day. And I think that that's so good, because I just remember, I think it's Michael Jordan that says that the worst day of your life is the day after you achieve the largest goal that you set, because it's done, right? And then you're like, well, what's next? I mean, I did it. And it's the hype up to all of it. And usually if you don't have something else that you're looking for, or something else that you're ready to do right after that, a lot of people say that when they train for marathons and stuff, the day after is just like the worst day. And I think it's just because it goes with this. So the summary of all of these were to productize yourself. And I might, as I read further, I might do another one on this, but basically what he said about that is to productize in yourself. Yourself has your own uniqueness, and productize has leverage. Yourself has accountability, and productize has specific knowledge. Yourself also has specific knowledge in there too. So all of these pieces, you can combine them into these two words. So I just want you guys to kind of think as we go back through some of these, what really stuck out to you. Angie said that's why we always need to set goals for life. Yep. One big one to the next one. Yeah, totally agree with that. Would love for you to just think back through these. And I know we don't often talk about necessarily wealth. However, I thought there were some really good points in here, and I would highly encourage you guys to, this book is definitely about mindset. I can tell you that much right now. A guide to wealth and happiness. And there are so many more other things that I wanted to share in here, but I just haven't had time to really like go through all of them. The biggest thing he talks about, which I would love for us to talk about maybe in the upcoming week, is happiness is being satisfied with what you have. And a lot of times I think that that's not attainable for some people, for some of us. Like we're always on to the next. And I think part of that's normal, but then I think there can be like a second level to that too. So anyway, hopefully you guys got some good nuggets from today. I'm going to finish this book this week. And if any of you guys read it, definitely let me know. Dawn said commitment and determination are excellent traits when used properly. Totally agree, Dawn. Yep, totally agree. I think that's a great note for us to end on. So hope you guys have a great rest of your week. Thanks for being on, and I'll see you next Wednesday. Bye. Oh, Milton, yes, I have those to post today. Thank you for reminding me. Shoot, I should have put them in the slides and I didn't. I'll be posting those in the Facebook group, and we'll send them out to everybody too. Thank you guys. See you.